And welcome to the Waiver Wire episode of Beerfield's Fantasy Football Shots for Week 10. I am your host at Hop BFF. It's Hop with two P's on Twitter. You can also follow the show at Beerfield Fantasy Football, Beerfield FF. We release podcasts 3 times a week, YouTube content every day. Be sure to like and subscribe. Check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Beerfield Fantasy Football Podcast. Let's get into some waiver pickups. At quarterbacks, a couple intriguing waiver pickups here. We got 4 names for you. Jared Goff, Josh McCown. Both kind of hand in hand. Jared Goff has been a matchup nightmare this year. He's definitely proven he can do it. He doesn't always have to pass, so he does have some limited upside, but he also gives you the potential to blow up. There's no reason he should not be owned at this point. And Josh McCown has just been consistently good, hanging around back-end quarterback 1 the entire season. He's finding a way to get it done. Ageless wonder. But the 2 guys I really want to highlight here are Blake Bortles and Jay Cutler. So starting with Blake Bortles. Bortles has the Chargers, the Browns, the Cardinals, and the Colts coming up. He's had 1 game with no touchdowns. Every other game he's thrown at least 1, but he's also only had 1 game with multiple touchdowns. 30-plus pass attempts in all but 2 games, even with Fournette there. If you're looking for an Alex Smith-type streamer or injury fill-in, it's going to be good for between 12 and 15 points a game. It won't completely kill you, but may not have all the upside. Bortles has actually been safe this year. He's only thrown 5 picks. He's proven that he can make the plays when he needs to get it done. And then the other waiver wire pickup I want to talk about is Jay Cutler. I see the Jay Ajayi thing as a turning point for this Dolphins team. And Jay Cutler went out for 3-11-3, and that's with the offensive line working against him essentially and grabbing holding call after holding call after holding call. He's got Carolina this week, but then he's got Tampa Bay and New England twice coming up towards the end of the season. So a couple plus matchups there. He's an intriguing name to pick up, but also just an intriguing name to keep an eye on if you're going to be in need of a quarterback. At running back, the Dolphins running back should have been picked up last week, but Kenyon Drake, Damian Williams, they both had 6 receptions this week. Drake was by far the better runner. You've got Matt Forte, who's been a top 24 running back for, I think, the last 5-6 weeks, ever since he came back from injury. So he definitely needs to be owned. He's a viable flex play every week. Thomas Rawls looks like he finally took a hold on this job. He had an efficient day. Maybe he didn't get all the carries you wanted him to get, but he was efficient. And Eddie Lacy's banged up. And then Orleans Dark was the other one. He had 16 carries at 4.4 yards a carry. He's still the most efficient Giants running back. He's still not getting the 20 touches a game. 16 solid, though, 70-plus yards. So you had a touchdown. You had a good game from him. So just keep him stashed. And he's a great piece to have in case of injury, and that could end up blowing up. I've been calling for it. It's going to happen before the season's over. At wide receiver, Corey Davis is back for Tennessee. He was not majorly involved, but it was a tough matchup, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out going forward. Corey Coleman has been designated to return for the Browns, so keep an eye on that. He was okay in his 1 game there. Marquise Goodwin is kind of the last man standing in San Francisco, so he's getting targeted, but he's going to be drawing top cornerback coverages in some rough matchups, including this week against Janoris Jenkins. And then Robert Woods is a guy that I really want to talk about. Robert Woods has been giving, especially in PPR, you pretty much a 10-point floor. He's almost a lock every week for at least 6 receptions and about 60 yards, but he has touchdown upside as well. So Robert Woods is definitely an intriguing grab. If he's out there, you need somebody on your bench you can trust for a playoff run in case of injury or something like that. He's a guy that you want to get. Robbie Anderson also out there. He's blossomed into the Jets' number 1 wide receiver as we expected at the beginning of the year. And then a couple other guys I wanted to talk about. Marquise Lee has been over 75 yards for the last 3 games. So he's definitely worth a pickup. Josh Doxson earned himself more playing time. He's now earned himself more targets. The only concern there is can Washington throw the ball downfield if their line is banged up as it was. And Zay Jones finally flashed, and I think Kelvin Benjamin being back is a big boon to him. So those are just some wide receiver names to look for this week as you run waivers. At tight end, Vernon Davis, only if Reed's hurt. The more intriguing names, Tyler Higbee. He's kind of coming into his own as the Rams tight end. They're using him a little bit, but probably not as much as you'd want to see. But it's a little barren out there for these guys. Greg Olsen coming off of IR. If he got dropped, go pick him up because when he's back into the top 6, 7 tight end discussion, if not top 5. And then Tyler Croft has been filling the Tyler Eifert role pretty handily. So, sorry, just spam call. Tyler Eifert has been filling the Tyler Croft has been filling the Tyler Eifert role pretty handily. So he should be owned at this point. And then Julius Thomas had a blow-up day. He kind of goes with Cutler, the same narrative. If it's a turning point for the Dolphins, he's somebody you want on your side. And then finally talking DST, the Bears are at home against the Packers. Packers can't, score on anybody. The Lions are at home against the Browns. It's another dysfunctional offense against a pretty good defense. Steelers at the Colts. Don't like this one as much, but the Steelers are a good defense with a quarterback who's still essentially getting his, aside from that little taste in New England, his first real playing time. Panthers at home against the Dolphins. Don't like that one as much. Giants at 49ers have an inept offense. And the Titans against the Bengals, who have been very streaky. You've also got the Rams at home versus the Texans and their backup quarterback situation with a pretty good defense. And then the Saints are still just under 50% owned at Buffalo. Their lowest score since week 2 has been 7 points. And I think they've given you 5 double-digit weeks. There's no reason they shouldn't be owned right now. All right, that's all I got for you for Waiver Wire. Be sure to check in tomorrow with Nick. Again, follow the show at BeerfieldFF. You can follow me at HopBFF. Thanks.